嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯嗯。
快看，那儿跑出来个人！别让他溜了！快看，那儿跑出来个人！方兄啊，方兄，你到底去哪儿了呀？让我找的好苦。
又是你！
这有啥好说？我们救吗？
难怪人所人，你这也是这么好使啊！萧关古道。
原来是你啊！哎，我是一路好运关。哎，对了，你一直在我后面，那你记得吗？就是元气那个。果然，那有画吗？
当然，假装应该是考核，到时候
不是有，是画画，画人画鸟画山水，出神入化的那种。
因为妖魔爱我之深，也未曾见过看过的画。
可恨，怎么偏偏是你这种外行人见到了？玉盘崩碎，紫锦阁现在一直作画，我当军事传名啊！但也天不与我，要你这种外行人啊！
这就是你说的热闹？
啊，那倒不是，月色之事罕见，在学校时也不如江湖之热闹。
晴川的热闹是江湖事
啊，是热闹，是你好，你好呀！一会儿家就从云端两过来，是你好。
十分好，那金桃家长的不是我这样吧？
这我哪知道？方兄心里又想得多，你过不进来。
哦，你的朋友我就不信他人了。
方兄过了，并不介意害人。听说当年他曾得罪人，被罚去刷场馆10天。爸爸，他公然用扫帚在墙上题下一字：墨痕如流星飞去，要似发丝扫行。这是失传已久的飞白笔法。我这朋友啊，
等下，听说？哦，你说吧，你就在里面。 什么声音呢？
这位游侠有点眼熟啊。
是我啊！啊，你这眼神，居然管法师！你和这树相互不甜，怎么？梦之人写信的是这树？
哎，要是这树就好了，树才不好。那小人住处空空的，一无自己，我想一个树林好了大树。
你的朋友该不会也去抢信来接头吧？
那必然不会，他早就认命了。你见过那种努力的老练吗？
努力又老练，
就是那种非常努力，武功也不错，但上马朝廷取士，下到车排队，万人取前三，他排第四；10人取前三，他还排第四呢，那回蛋。
发挥这么稳定，在我老家这咋正常？
没错，就是正常。他30岁时实际上是王贵，他苦熬多日得了第二，结果无出所料，只能1位，还是他不会失踪。哎，从此他就背影了。这金毛总能是人宠一个，他早知道自己是上的，才不上不去。他这个人平时普普通通，脸皮一拉都是脸的，但那天他一出现，眼睛就突然亮起来。我说这眼睛还太热血，又挂下了。
你这才画蛇。
我本来就是。后来我们一直写信，他说河西之极比长安久先数万里，天下之大，莫说是亮眼睛，连蓝眼睛、黄眼睛、绿眼睛更多的是。
他劝你说自我看看，
他也没劝，我老早想离开长安，来参与流浪。后来说，到底是自己想去，还是家人困苦，也分清楚。后来我才清楚了，我不甘心一辈子住在长安，我想去扬州，去应就好些个地方。结果我刚走没多远，就知道他的热情。哎呀，我这回有什么仇？我就说我们尽管赶紧休息。
我的胳膊怎么动不了了？
Operator, Ordis has determined the secrets to happiness. A combination of heightened dopamine levels and a terrible memory. You're welcome!
DPS, bro. Like, actually get off the DPS. It's my anxiety, bro. I'm shaking. I'm sorry. I'll chill out. But like,
Higher the proof. 30 seconds before you attack. Get ready. The cam shaking low. Starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
there are these points why we're about too long. Strange is just mad, but I don't mind the Tifa.
Let's talk about the fact 7 got 3 intake fans and no exhaust.
All set. Service your weapons myself.
Save myself the trap ass shit. I get the Mark DPS one more time. Got my best. Talking about some beautiful heals. I tried. I sure did. Rocket wants to be in the corner of the map, and the other one just can't save her life. Bro, I hate that about
I love it.
Rockets.
This weapon.
It's 24/7 because you want to hold right click. Fine, well,
Pokemon Sim.
Well, well, well. Looks like some serious fun is going down out there. Here's to you, anonymous troublemaker.
Bruh. Can you grab a ledge? It's crazy. 15, you find more levels. How you doing today, chat? Can y'all hear it again? Okay. For some odd reason, it's not showing the audio on my studio. Yeah, because it's not showing me anything on my studio. It only shows that my mic is working. Kind of quiet coming to AFK music. Not that quiet. Enjoying it, bro. I'm just leveling it up to put it in the closet because the stats is ass. It does mostly impact damage. Yeah, it's just for XP. I have the twins cooking in my thing. I'm gonna probably get the XP out of them and put them back in the helmet. Okay, so where's Max?
Enter the conduit now.
Appreciate it, guess.
Hunter, you are running out of time. Enter the data conduit. Hunter, the sanctuary will go on without you.
Hmm. What else is here? Is there really nothing to do? Spot. Bruh. Nah, bro, I need something new to do, bro. I'm tired of the same shit, bro.
Well done, lads, well done! I dare say the murmur is quaking in its ambulators. What with the hiding our friends. We've had a few. You in the mood for a... No. No problem. What'll it be? I know you can take a punch. Works for me. Ready? To leave the anchor hold, access that terminal. The Netracell is deep in this lab maze. Get control of a few terminals, that'll help you zero in on them.
Okay, so that's that there. So it's supposed to be right here. That's extraction. So it might be left. It's this room, okay. Where's the activation? There.
This is it. Use the key glyph and get ready for whatever happens next. We ain't done! Local threats are triggering a security override. Clear out the uglies to pop the door.
necromites are slowing us down. Find them, smash them. Security level dropping. Hit them till they stop moving. Albrecht's damn necromites are reinforcing the Netrocell. Your hands are tied until you knock them out. You're in. Grab and go. Can't wait to see what you got when you get back here. I wonder what Albrecht planned on doing with that.
Bruh. It's my
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
and give me a melee duplicate. This game stay pissing me off, bro. Bro, I don't even want to play this game, bro. There's nothing to do. It's the same shit that I left. I'm getting off this shit.
you want me to do? Hack something? Place a wiretap? Check data?
Descendant, we've been waiting for you. Our soldiers have suffered extensive casualties while holding off the enemy onslaught. These resources were seized from the enemy fortress. They must be transported safely to Albion. yours for the time being.
Wait, what?
Thank you, Descendant. You're a lifesaver.
I still got my main cam. This man, bro. No need to flex. I'm not flexing.
I'm Eckert from Data Intelligence. How can I help you? Just say the word. I'll find out everything for you.
What the fuck? Bruh. Appreciate it, likes. Welcome in, Nerd. I'm about to crash out because customs. I'm trying to take my soul if I purchase anything of value. Yeah, man, that's customs, bro. I never like living in Jamaica because when it comes to anything technical related, if you never have nobody, if you just buy it and bring it down, like where I come to Jamaica often, you basically cook. And even when you try to bring it down in an airport, then try pull shit by you too. Like they need one charge me for me my laptop the other day when I bring it down. I'm saying no, it's my personal laptop. On a brighty. Me say pull up which party say pan phone page. Which party say me have to pay customs for my personal item. And I couldn't do it. Bo say next time don't do it. Suck your mother. Bo. Yeah, my shit, you know, them I try tax. Crazy. Man, my teeth, man. Yeah, you have to make sure you like put in your carry-on or something. No, you can. I'm saying like when you come from America to Jamaica, then give you a problem like when it comes to that. So most times you have to take the stuff out of the box. But sometimes when you take it out of the box, it will get damaged. So you have to wrap it in on a shirt or something, or keep it in a box and say it's a personal computer you bring with you, right? If you bring a graphics card, you can't bring 4 graphics card because if you bring for your friend them, right? You have to go and come back 1 because if you bring both 2 or 3, then say I'm gonna try to say I sell it, I try to sell it, and then we try to tax you. So certain things you can't bring more than a certain amount, otherwise they might look on you like you have money. So that's how airport go. Where the FL. So yeah, you have to just customs even worse. They might charge out $6 just for clear one single item, and if you weigh more, they might charge you more. So it almost be like 12 grand all to 20 grand just to clear one graphics card. 40 if ever buy a 4090. Well, we a lot because I heat sink. You cook. So the way to get around that is to buy a 4090 but buy a water block feet. But then again, you have to still buy a card, so yeah, it's crazy in Jamaica, bro. We don't miss certain things what Jamaica do when it comes to like tech. And trying to open a business to do customs, like Amazon can afford it. Like starting as a small content creator, not small content creator, but start as a small business owner to try and get stuff into the country. The more like politician, them and customs are gonna want a cut. So you could pay the government just for the land where you are rent, right? For taxes. Then you have to pay customs on top of that because you bring stuff in the country that are border patrol, whatever the security, whatever they want to call it, so crook. So you have to pay per instance of where you're bringing from the ship because if you get the stuff shipped and if you don't get the stuff shipped, you still have to, if you build your own pier, they won't charge you tax on top of that. So not only you have your business tax, you have the pier tax for just bringing shit. So you can't do that. So you better have just you're forced to use for them infrastructure because they don't want to build none. Let other people come to you for business because they're gonna lose business on that. So they don't want that for them. So they make it hard for you enter and they make it hard for you use them. So that's all you think. So you get tax if you use them. And if you try to build a one, it will make it very extremely expensive. The reason why Amazon get away with it is because the man them are billionaires. So the man they don't care. It's like a pocket money for them. If you just set up a pier and do a deal because they can't pay them and they go through no problem. They can write you off as a tax expense for business operating costs and they can't hide it. Bro, I'm telling you, it's crazy. Even if I break like 5% even with cash flow to how much I get, much money I make, because they can't pay them out of the profits. You have to pay them out of the operating costs, because operating costs is different. So if you spend 10 grand for run a business, right? And your business generate 20 grand. So instead of them charging you 30% based on that the 10 grand that we need for your business run, you say, all right, hold on, cool yourself. You get the money when we get paid, right? So they pay them out of profits. So if you generate 20 worth of profits, instead of taking 30% worth of whatever the business amount is, you take only 30% based on the profit. So if you only make 10 grand in profit at 20 grand, they might get paid more, but that's what you have to do. You have to determine the terms. So if it's a small amount where you split the profits in per instance instead of a whole thing, then we'll get paid more if it's one thing. So if you calculate all your profits as one thing, then get paid more money if it's 30% that. But if you do it in quarters, right? Is it quarter one, quarter two? That's how most businesses do it. It's a smaller value. It's a smaller number because when they multiply the percentage basically per how much you make per quarter, the number is a roughly smaller versus a year or a month. Because if you do a month, if you do calculation for 12 months and multiply it, it will be more than just doing a quarter and then taking out. Yeah, so it's like a business. You have to know how the business works, bro. And then you have royalties too. So sometimes they can't even do royalties, but that's high. I mean, I don't really actually understand royalties, but me know say shares and then something is like you have a share in a company and then pay you like if you lend the company. So the purpose of shares is to act as a the purpose of shares is to act as a buffer. So when you start a business, if you don't have any money, you can do shares where you take a percentage of your company, how much is valued. Let's say you have a company with value $1 million. You take a percentage of that. So maybe 30% will available to you public are small. Or percent, yeah, me, but 30% I think is the maximum, right? So 30% of your company is 30% of $1 million. So 300K. So 300K worth of shares, right? They need to put something that's called a bond. So your bond is gonna be your share in a sense, right? It's like a piece of paper. So each bond is worth about a certain amount, right? But people trade it and the value go up. So the object is it's like money were worth money in a sense. Like how me put it, like if we get a dollar bill, even though the dollar bill is $1, if it was made in a certain year and it's a rare dollar, instead of it being worth $1, it's worth like $50. So you get what I'm saying? So the bond acts as like a temporary money placeholder. So they buy it, then they turn back around and resell it. So whatever they profit they make on the bond is how much they actually like. So that's why your money make money basically. So when you sell it and get the profit back, you can then pocket a certain amount if you want and then reinvest it into another bond. So you just like you siphon off each like iteration of the quarter basically. So that's what they use. That's what they do the what's that word? The thing for the quarter reports when how much profit they generate per quarter. Yes. So if you sell a bond, you hold on money if you have a certain quarter and you sell in a fourth quarter, right? It becomes more valuable because you hold on money longer. So you're paying 4 iterations of a quarter. So you multiply that by 4. So that's how much you pay, and then you multiply the profit by 4. How much profit it makes. So if you pay 10K, then generate 7K and a 4 quarter, then you minus how much you owe them or whatever, they take out for them share. You get a certain percentage of interest on top of that if you borrow them. It's like a oh shit business, 3% for they lend them money. Well, going with Virgil, 3% interest are 7%, but the average is 6. 6 is usually the go-to. Appreciate it, Gibbs. 6% is the average. So whatever money you lend them is going to be a 6% interest on top because you act as like a temporary bank. So instead of you as a business owner using your own money to cash flow the business, you just borrow from investors, invest into the company for run the company to generate money. You pay them back within worth, and then you pay them in profit. Financial. That's basically how it goes. So I use somebody else's money to finance a company. So that's what cash flow does. So usually a company have to have a 6-month reserve of cash flow to maintain it, like bills and shit. So inflation and it's up there. So if you have a paycheck to paycheck for a business, it'll cook you. But that's basically how it does. But the bonds is like basically a share. That's why a share is like that bond. But yeah, setting up your own like stuff in Jamaica is annoying, bro. Because you gotta jump through too many hoops. And it worse in Jamaica than America. America at least I can understand the system if you know if you play it. But yeah, Jamaica, bro, no. Because not only do you have to deal with the business side, you have to deal with the corrupted politicians. Them want to get paid, bribe and shit. So I'm gonna show you how complicated this shit gets. Let's pull out the drawing board. Alright, so you own a company, right? First things first, you're gonna have the first box, which is cash flow, right? This is like how much money it might take to run your business, right? So this is where all the expenses go in. This right here is the actual business, right? And then this is the out product. This is like if you make a product and it outputs a product, I'm just gonna put product above this, right? If you make a product and it sells, right? This is where you generate profit, basically, right? Profit. So if it takes 10K, right? Right, that's how much it takes for all the builds, like PCBs, basically anything that you need to run the company, like electricity, all that will fall underneath like the bill and stuff, right? So if you're using 10K in total to then run the business, like run, and then you have like miscellaneous costs you can like cover from a separate budget, like a credit card. So for this, you would use a credit card. So because you don't have this money on hand, you basically would borrow from a bank that will fund this. Either a bank or investors. So you have investors or a bank. Usually investors are cheaper, but banks usually give you a certain interest rate when you borrow from them. So if you don't want to like do the interest rate thing, you go investors. They give you money, and in promise, when it generates a product, they get a discounted version of that product, right? So you come in here, you generate that, you make a product inside a company, right? So I'm just gonna name this tech company, right? You make tech, right? So if you produce like a phone, right, it takes 10K and you produce like 100,000 phones, right? And you're selling them for like, let's say you're selling them $1,000 because they're flagship phones, right? $1,000 for that. So that's like what? That's like almost 100, like that much. That's 100 million. So that's 100 million, right? So if you're basically paying them based on each iteration of like what you call it, what you sell, if you're doing like a 7%, like you pay them back for that amount that they pay you, which was 10 grand, right? Right? You pay them back their 10 grand out of this amount, right? And you drop down to 90 mil, right? So this is not your profit, right? This is the money that goes into paying employees and all that stuff that covers it. So usually it's like 50% will go to like employees and taxes. So basically everything that's within the company that's outside of cash flow will basically get covered from this value. And let's say we have some that goes to R&D. So we put on 20 mil. This goes to research and development. It's like researching new products. And you put down maybe like 10 mil for other shit, right? Then the shares is what the investor holds. So instead of them paying, they getting their 10K, they'll get like a portion of like a product. So they'll hold like, let's say I want to hold 10K phones, right? And I'll choose to sell this phone when I feel like it, right? So that's what a share in a sense is. It's like a virtual share, but sometimes it's physical. So they'll hold on to that, and they'll make a note in the company saying, oh, if this person sells or we sell their share for them, we'll pay them their shares plus an extra bonus of a certain percentage, right? Let's say 10% for being a lender. So they'll add another 10% on top of whatever they make in that share. So they get money back, and their money grows. Investor makes money, company makes money, everybody happy. So that's basically how it goes. So yeah, the shares act as like a virtual currency or placeholder. So if you look at bonds, but you usually have like the big shit, but like shares. Let me see if I can find you. Everybody have it? Yep, because the employees get cheaped out. Yeah, pretty much. But these are to it. So it says when you buy a share, become a part owner of that company, basically. Act as like, let me see if I can find a very visual representation of it. So, this right here. So that how they invest in stuff. So basically, it will tell you like you represent ownership, equities, and values in trade. So there's trade, there's the risk market, and there's like a bunch of shit that's inside of the company, because the company also can make their own investments into other countries when they generate money. So you see a type of share, you got preference, treasury. I don't know what treasury is, but in equity. So it's like the portion shares. So something like this. So see, company profits, company assets. So the company uses the profit to buy assets, and its assets they can use to generate money, right? So then that money can help cover some of the cash flow that the company profits. So the profit goes up, and then you can own the shares for each iteration of a company. So these are like bonds, so like certificates, basically. You can get printed versions of this, but usually most people do virtual. So get all the shares. You got your shares, and you can put them in trusts. So it's like a piece of paper. It's like, yeah. It's okay to zoom this in. So right here. So see right here, example, stock splits. Says before split is like 10 mil, Basically everything is here, share price. And this is like, see, if price goes out. So if price goes down, it's a 50-50 split. See right here, they gain a certain amount, number of shares, and when you sell it, you make a certain profit. Basically, it's like a promise note in a sense. Like I'm gonna promise you, I'm gonna give you this amount of money when you sell, and I'm gonna give you some money on top of that. So it's like borrowing in a sense, but without the interest. So that's why a lot of companies prefer to work with investors than the bank, because the bank usually gives them like a 7% to 6% interest rate. Depends on the company. Some it's the highest 24%, especially for like.